Oh, Mrs. Simmons? Yes, Mrs. Simmons is my mother. But she has guests this afternoon. Who wants her? Oh, wait just a minute. Hang on just 1 minute.
Yes, dear?
Telephone?
Oh, no, not now, dear. Not with all of them in there. Tell them I'm busy.
Mother, it's the society editor at the Evening News Beat.
Oh, the society editor. She's very important. Yes, good afternoon, Miss Shelby. This is Mrs Simmons. Yes, our tea and reception for the members of the Wednesday Forum. You might say a program tea. Ray, how many would you say?
75 at least. Mother, say 100.
75. Miss Tewksbury is a soloist accompanied by Wilda McCurdy, accompanist.
Mother, please. Miss Tewksbury's almost finished.
Oh, she'll do an encore.
But what if they don't give her enough applause?
I have known her for years. She'll do an encore. You might say that I am assisted by my daughter, Miss Myrtle Mae Simmons. What color would you call that?
Rancho Rose, they told me.
Miss Myrtle Mae Simmons looked charming in a modish Rancho Rose-toned crepe, picked up at the girdle with a touch of emerald on magenta. Oh, I wish you could see her, Miss Shelby.
Mother, please. She's almost finished. Where's the cateress?
Everything is ready. The minute she's finished singing, we open the dining room doors and begin pouring. The parlor and halls are festooned with smilax. Yes, festooned. Why, yes, Miss Ellerby, this is the first party we have had in years. There's a reason, but I don't want it in the papers. We all have our troubles, Miss Ellerby.
Mother, come.
The guest list? Oh, yes. If you'll excuse me now, Miss Ellerby, I'll call you later.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet just came in.
Ooh, Mrs. Eugene Chauvenet Sr. Her father was a scout with Buffalo Bill.
Oh, that's how she got that hat.
Myrtle, you must be nice to Mrs. Chauvenet. She is a grandson about your age.
Oh, but what difference will that make with Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle May, remember, we agreed not to talk about that this afternoon. The whole point of this party is to get you started. We work through those older women to the younger group.
But we can't have anyone here in the evenings, and that's when men come to see you, in the evenings. The only reason we can have this party this afternoon is because Uncle Elwood is playing pinochle at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Thank God for the firehouse.
I know, but they'll just have to invite you out, and it won't hurt them one bit. Oh, Myrtle, you have so much to offer. I don't care what anyone says. There's something sweet about every young girl. And then a man takes that sweetness and look what he does with it. But you've just got to meet somebody, Myrtle. That's all there is to it.
Oh, Mother, if I do, they say, there's Myrtle Mae Simmons. Her uncle is Elwood P. Dowd, the biggest screwball in town. Elwood P. Dowd and his
You promised.
All right, let's get them to the dining room.
Now, when the members come in here and you give your welcome speech on behalf of your grandmother, be sure to do this.
And after I do that, do I mention my Uncle Elwood and say a few words about his pal, Harvey? Damn, Harvey!
Oh, that's right, Myrtle. Let everybody in the Wednesday Forum hear you. You said that name. You promised you wouldn't say that name, and you said it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mother, but how do you know that Uncle Elwood isn't going to come in here and introduce Harvey to everybody?
Oh, Myrtle May, this isn't kind of you. Elwood is the biggest heartache I have. And even if people do call him peculiar, he's still my brother. And he won't be here this afternoon.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
But, Mother, why can't we live like other people?
Must I remind you again? Elwood isn't living with us. We are living with him.
Yes, we're living with him and Harvey. Did Grandmother know about Harvey?
I've wondered and wondered about that. She never told me if she did.
Why did she have to leave all her property to Uncle Elwood when she died?
Well, I suppose it's because she died in his arms. People are sentimental about things like that.
Well, you always say that, and it doesn't make any sense. She didn't make out her will after she was gone, did she?
Oh, don't be didactic, Myrtle Mae. It's unbecoming in a young girl, and men loathe it. Now, be sure to remember to wave your hand.
I'll do my best.
Oh dear, Miss Tewksbury's voice is certainly fading.
Yeah, not fast enough.
Lovely, Mrs. Lovely.
Excuse me one moment. I have to answer the phone. Make yourself comfortable, Harvey. Hello? Oh, you have the wrong number, but how are you anyway? This is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. All do? Well, thank you. What is your name, my dear? Miss Elsie Greenwald. Harvey, it's Miss Elsie Greenwald. How are you today, Miss Greenwald? That's fine. Oh, yes, I'd be happy to join your club. I belong to several clubs now. The University Club, and the Country Club, and the Pinochle Club at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. It's where I spend a great deal of my time. Or over at Charlie's Place, or Eddie's Bar. What is your club, Miss Greenwald? Harvey, I get the Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, and an open road for boys for 2 years for $6.25. That sounds fine. I'll join. How does that sound to you, Harvey? Harvey says it sounds fine too, Miss Greenwald. He'll join as well. Yes, 2 subscriptions. Mail everything to this address. I sure hope I get a chance to meet you sometime, my dear. Harvey, she wants to meet. When? When would you like to meet? Why not right now? My sister seems to have a few friends over, and we would find it an honor if you would stop by and join us. My sister would be delighted. 343 Temple Drive. I hope to see you in a few minutes. Goodbye, my dear. She's coming right over. Oh, Harvey, you think we'd better freshen up? Yeah, so do I.
I can't seem to remember where I put that guest list. Have you seen it, Miss Johnson?
No, I haven't, Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, look upstairs on my dresser. Mother!
Mrs. Chauvenet is asking for you. Oh, here she is, Mrs. Chauvenet. Here's Mother.
That Louise Simmons. I thought you were dead.
Aunt Ethel. Oh, thank you. No, I'm very much alive, thank you.
And this full-grown girl is your daughter. I've known you since you were a baby.
I know.
What is your name, dear?
This is Myrtle, Aunt Ethel, Myrtle Mae, for the 2 sisters of her father. He's dead. That's what confused you.
Where's Elwood?
Elwood couldn't be here this afternoon, Aunt Ethel. Now, let me get you some tea.
Elwood isn't here?
No.
Shame on him. He was the reason I came.
Oh, well, come. There are loads of people anxious to speak with you.
Do you realize that? It's been years since I've seen Elwood.
No. Where does the time go?
I was just saying to Mr. Chauvenet just the other night, what on earth do you think happened to Elwood Dowd? He hasn't been to any of the club dances in years, and I haven't seen him at a horse show. Is Elwood seeing anyone, Vetta?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel. Elwood sees somebody.
Oh, yes. Your Uncle Elwood child is one of my favorite people. Always has been.
Yes.
Is Elwood happy, Vetta?
Oh, Elwood is very happy, Aunt Ethel. You don't need to worry about Elwood. Now, there's Mrs. Frank Cummings. Just came in. Don't you want to speak to her?
Ma! She looks frightful. Hasn't she failed, though?
Oh, if you think she looks badly, you should see him.
Is that so? I must have them over for dinner. She looks ghastly. I thought she was dead.
Oh, no.
How about some tea, Vetta?
Oh, certainly. If you will forgive me, I will precede you.
Elwood Dowd, bless your heart.
Aunt Ethel, what a pleasure to come here and find a beautiful woman waiting for me.
Oh, Elwood, you haven't changed a bit.
Come along, Aunt Ethel. We mustn't miss the party.
Yes, there's punch if you don't want tea.
But I do like tea. Stop pulling at me, you two. Elwood, what night next week would you like to come to dinner?
Oh, any night at all, Aunt Ethel. I'd be delighted.
Elwood, some mail came for you today. I took it upstairs to your room.
Oh, did you, Betta? That was nice. Aunt Ethel, I want you to meet Harvey. As you can see, he's a Puka. Harvey, you've heard me speak of Mrs Shelby. We've always called her Aunt Ethel. She's one of my oldest and dearest friends. Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right, she's the one. Yes, this is the one. He says she would know you anywhere. You two look lovely. Ah, come along, Harvey. We must say hello to all of our friends. Oh, I beg your pardon, Aunt Ethel, but if you'll excuse me for one moment.
What?
Oh, you're standing in his way.
Oh.
Come along, Harvey. Oh. Now keep it. I'll be in right behind you. Aunt Ethel. I can see you are disturbed about Harvey. Please don't be. He stares like that at everybody. It's his way. But he liked you, I could tell. He liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps?
Oh, you know, I better be running along now.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye. Oh, goodbye.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Myrtle, where are you going?
I'm going to my room. She's in there introducing Harvey to everyone. I can't face those people, Mother. I wish I were dead.
Come back in here and stay with me. We'll get him out of there and upstairs to his room.
I won't do it. I can't.
Myrtle Mae. Now, pretend I'm fixing your corsage.
Oh, Mother.
We've got to. Keep looking. When you catch his eye, tell me. He always comes when I call him. Now, do you see him yet?
No, not yet. How do you do, Mrs. Cummings?
Smile, can't you? I'm smiling. You little brother.
Oh, Mother. People get run over by trucks every day. Why can't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle Mae, this is unkind of you. This thing is not your uncle's fault.
Ouch! Mom, just hit me with the pin.
Now keep looking. This is Mrs Simmons. Should you come in the clothes you have on? What have you on? May I ask, who is this? But I don't know any Miss Greenwald. Should you what? May I ask who invited you? Mr. Dowd. Well, thank you just the same, but I believe there's been a mistake. Well, I never.
Never what?
One of your uncle's friends. She asked me if she should bring a quart of gin to the Wednesday for her. You see him yet?
There he is. He's talking to Mrs. Halsey.
Is Harvey with him?
What? How do I know? How does anybody know but Uncle Elwood?
Oh, Elwood, dear. Could I see you for just a moment? I promise you, your uncle has disgraced us in this house for the last time. I'm going to do something this afternoon I've never done before.
What did you mean just now when you said this isn't Uncle Elwood's fault? If it's not his fault, whose fault is it?
Oh, never you mind. I know whose fault it is. Now, go back in there, hold your head up, and smile as if nothing has happened.
You're no match for Uncle Elwood.
You'll see.
Oh, Mother's waiting for you.
Oh, Elwood, could I see you for a moment, dear?
Oh, yes, of course. 1 minute, Harvey.
Elwood, would you mind sitting down in here and waiting for me until the party is over? I want to talk to you. It's very important.
Oh, of course, Betta. I happen to have a little free time, and you're welcome to all of it, sister. You want Harvey to wait, too?
Well, yes, Elwood, I certainly do.
Ah, Jane Austen. Oh, sit down, Harvey. Veta wants to talk to us. She said it was important. I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party. Oh, Jane Austen, limited edition, deluxe. Grosset and Dunlop. The usual acknowledgments. Chapter 1.
Mrs. O.R. Simmons, 343 Temple Drive. Is that right?
We were born and raised there. It's old, but we love it. It's our home.
And you wish to enter your brother here at the sanitarium for treatment. Your brother's name.
It's... it's...
Mrs. Simmons, what is your brother's name?
Oh, I am sorry. Life is not easy for any of us. I have to hold my head up and go on. That's what Myrtle Mae keeps telling me, but I keep telling Myrtle Mae. She's heartbroken about her Uncle Elwood. Elwood P. Dowd, that's it.
Elwood Dowd. His age?
37, the 24th of last April. He's a Taurus. Taurus, the bull. I'm a Leo. Myrtle Mae is on the cusp.
37. Is he married?
Oh, no. Elwood has never married. He stayed with Mother. He was a great homeboy. He loved his home.
And you have him with you now?
He's in a taxi cab down in the driveway. I gave the driver $1 to watch him, but I didn't tell the man why. You can't tell these things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, would you please step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if you would be good enough to step up to room number 24, South Wing G.
Ask him?
This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Of course, I'd be glad to ask him.
The rates here, Mrs. Simmons. You'll find them on the back of this card.
Oh, this will all be taken care of on my mother's estate, the late Marcella Penny Dowd. Judge Yakemy is our attorney.
I'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see you now.
Dr. Sanderson? But I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons. Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody. Well, Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Well, he's still a psychiatrist, isn't he? He's still head of this institution, isn't he?
Still a psychiatrist? Oh, Dr. Chumley is more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Why, whenever people have mental breakdowns, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, that's his office, isn't it? Well, you march right in there and you tell him I want to speak to him. If he knows who's in here, he'll come out here.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, I wouldn't dare disturb him. I'd be discharged if I did.
Well, I don't like being pushed off onto any second fiddle.
Oh, Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. Well, he's young, of course, and he hasn't been out of medical school very long, but Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Sanderson. He's really wonderful. To his patients.
Very well. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh.
Bella, isn't this wonderful? Simmons?
Oh, I didn't hear you come in. You startled me. You're Dr. Sanderson?
Yes. Will you be seated, please?
Oh, thank you. I hope you don't think I'm jumpy like this all the time, but...
Of course not. Nurse Kelly tells me you're concerned about your brother. Dowd, is it? Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, Doctor, it's... It's what Elwood's doing to himself, Doctor, that's the thing. Myrtle Mae has the right to nice friends. She's young and her whole life is before her. Oh, that's my daughter.
Your daughter. How long has it been since you began to notice any peculiarities in your brother's actions?
Oh, I noticed it right away when Mother died. And Myrtle Mae and I came home from Des Moines to live with Elwood. I could see that he... that he...
That he what? Take your time, Mrs. Simmons. Let it come. Don't strain. I'll wait for it.
Doctor, everything I tell you is confidential, isn't it?
Well, that's understood.
Well, because it's a slap in the face to everything we've stood for in this community the way Elwood is acting now.
I'm not a gossip, Mrs. Simmons. I'm a psychiatrist.
Very well. For one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Well, don't you call it excess when a man never lets a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with riffraff and people you never heard of, inviting them to the house, playing cards with them, giving them food and money. And here I am trying to get Myrtle Mae started with a nice group of young people. If that isn't excess, I'm sure I don't know what excess is.
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Well, yes, I say definitely Elwood drinks, and I want him committed out here permanently, because I cannot stand another day of that Harvey. Myrtle Mae and I have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to move over on the sofa for Harvey. We have to answer the telephone when Elwood calls and has to speak to Harvey. And then this afternoon at a party with Mrs Shelby there. Doctor, don't you think it would have been a little bit kinder of Mother to have written and told me about Harvey? Be honest now, don't you?
Well, I really couldn't answer that.
Well, I can. Yes, it certainly would have been.
This person you call Harvey, who's he?
He's a rabbit.
Well, perhaps, but just who is he? Some companion your brother picked up in one of these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, I've been telling you, Harvey is a rabbit. A big white rabbit, 6 feet high. Or is it 6 1/2 feet? Oh, heaven knows I should know. He's been around the house long enough.
Now, let me understand this. You say...
Doctor, do I have to keep repeating myself? My brother insists that his closest friend is this rabbit. The rabbit is 6 feet high and is named Harvey. He lives at our house with us, don't you understand? He and Elwood go everywhere together. Elwood buys railroad tickets, theater tickets for both of them. As I told Myrtle Mae, if your uncle was so lonesome he had to bring something home, why couldn't he bring home something human? He has me, doesn't he? He has Myrtle Mae, doesn't he? Oh, Doctor, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone in the world before. Sometimes I see that big white rabbit myself. Now, isn't that terrible? I've never even told that to Myrtle Mae. And what's more, he's every bit as big as Elwood says he is. Now, don't you tell that to anybody, Doctor. I'm ashamed of it.
I can see that you've been under a great nervous strain recently.
Why, yes, I have.
And you've been worrying a great deal.
Oh, nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep?
Oh, how can anybody sleep with all of that going on?
Been short-tempered over trifles?
Oh, you just try living with those two and see how your temper holds up.
Lots of appetite?
Oh. Nobody could eat at a table with my brother and a big white rabbit. Well, I'm finished with it. I'll sell the house. I'll be named conservator of Elwood's estate. And then Myrtle Mae and I will be able to entertain our friends in peace. It's too much, Doctor. I just can't understand it.
Of course, Mrs. Simmons. Of course. You're tired.
Why, yes, I am.
And you've been worrying a great deal.
Oh, I have. I can't help it.
And now I'm going to help you.
Oh, Doctor.
Just sit there quietly, Mrs. Simmons. I'll be right back.
I'll just go down to the cab and get Elwood's things.
Why didn't anyone answer the bell?
I didn't hear you, Doctor.
Mrs. Simmons! Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave the ground.
She's made a getaway with it, huh, Doc?
Condition's serious. Go after her.
I can't believe it.
Main gate? Henry? Dr. Sanderson. Allow no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I shouldn't have left her alone, but nobody answered the bell.
Wilson was in South, Doctor.
What do we have available, Miss Scully?
Number 13, Upper West R is ready, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately. I will prescribe preliminary treatment. I must contact her brother. Dowd is the name. Elwood P. Dowd. Get him on the telephone for me, will you please, Miss Kelly?
But Doctor, I didn't know it was the woman who needed treatment. Well, she said it was for her brother.
Of course she did. It's the oldest dodge in the world. Always used by a cunning type of psychopath. She apparently knew that her brother was going to have her committed, so she came down here to discredit him. Get him on the telephone, please.
But Doctor, I thought the woman was all right, so I had Wilson take the brother up to room number 24, South Room G. He's there now.
You had Wilson take the brother in. No gags, please, Kelly. You're not serious.
Oh, I did, Doctor, I did. Oh, Doctor, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh. Well then, if you're sorry, that fixes everything. Oh, no!
I'll do it. I'll do it, Doctor. Miss Stumpy, would you please unlock the door to room number 24? Give Mr. Dowd his clothes and
ask him to step down to the office right away.
ask him to step down to the office right away. Well, there's been a terrible mistake, and Dr. Sanderson would like to explain.
Explain. Apologize.
Thank heavens I haven't put him in the hydrant tub yet. I'll let him out.
Beautiful. And dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Well, I feel terrible, Doctor. I didn't know. Well, when Judge Gaffney called and said Mrs. Simmons and her brother would be out, and she came in, and... Well, you don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't I? Stop worrying, Kelly. We'll squirm out of it some way.
But where are you going?
Well, I've got to tell the chief about it, Kelly. He may want to handle this himself.
Oh, no. No, he'll be furious. And then he'll die. And then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility is all mine, Kelly.
No. Tell him it was my fault, Doctor.
I never mention your name, except in my sleep.
Put this man down.
Don't let him go, Kelly. I'll be right back.
But well, what will I do? What will I say to him? He'll be furious.
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied. But he's a man, isn't he?
Well, I guess so. His name is Mr.
Go into your old routine. You know, the eyes, the swish. It works. I'm immune, but I've seen it work with some people. Some of the patients out here. Keep him here, Kelly. You have to do a striptease.
Oh, well, you're wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah? How's about giving me a lift here just the same?
What?
That Simmons dame.
Did you catch her?
Slick as a whistle. She was humming a tune, coming along the path, jumped out from behind a tree, said, "Sister, there's a man who wants to see you." Should have heard her yell. She is wacky, all right.
Take her to number 13, Wilson.
She's there now. I brought her up. I brought her into the diet kitchen, kicking and screaming. If you hold her, I'll undress her.
Oh, well, just a second. Dr. Sanderson wants me to stay here until her brother comes down.
Well, make it snappy.
Elwood P.
I'm Mrs. Kelly.
Let me give you one of my cards. If you should ever want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one. That's the old one.
Thank you.
Oh, perfectly all right. And if you happen to lose it, don't worry, my dear. I have plenty more.
Won't you have a seat?
Oh, thank you. I'll have two. Allow me.
Dr. Sanderson is very anxious to speak with you. Please be seated.
After you, my dear.
Oh, I really can't. I'm in and out all the time, but you mustn't mind me. Please sit down.
After you.
Would you like a magazine to look at?
I'd much rather look at you, my dear, if you don't mind me saying so. You're rather lovely.
Oh, thank you. Some people don't seem to think so.
Some people are blind. That is often brought to my attention. And now, Miss Kelly, I would like to have you meet
Mr. Dowd.
Oh, Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards.
Mr. Dowd, I'm Dr. Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Chumley's assistant out here.
Oh, good for you. How are you, doctor?
Oh, that's going to depend on you, I'm afraid. Won't you have a seat? You've met Miss Kelly, I presume?
Oh, I have had that pleasure. And I want the two of you to meet a very dear friend of mine.
I'll later on be glad to. Won't you be seated? Because first I want to say...
After Miss Kelly.
Sit down, Kelly. Is that chair quite comfortable for you, Mr. Dowd?
Oh. Yes. Would you care to try?
No, thank you. Can we get an ashtray? I want an ashtray for Mr. Dowd here. Is it too warm in here for you, Mr. Dowd? Would you like me to open a window?
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson would like to know if he should open a window.
Oh. Oh, that's entirely up to him. I wouldn't presume to live his life for him.
Now then, Mr. Dowd, I can see that you're not the kind of man to be taken in by any high-flown phrases or beating around the bush.
Is that so, doctor?
You have us at a disadvantage here. You know it, we know it. Let's lay the cards on the table.
That certainly appeals to me, doctor.
Best way in the long run. People are people no matter where you go.
That is very often the case.
And being human are liable to mistakes. Miss Kelly and I have made a mistake here this afternoon, and we'd like to explain it to you.
I find it very interesting, nevertheless. You and Miss Kelly here. This afternoon, you say?
It was all my fault, Mr. Dowd.
A human failing, as I said.
Oh. Well, your attitude may be old-fashioned, doctor, but I like it.
Now, if I had seen your sister first, that would have been an entirely different story.
Now there, you surprise me. I think the world and all of Veda, but I suppose she had seen her day.
Well, you must not attach any blame to her. She's a very sick woman. She came in here insisting that you were in need of treatment. That's perfectly ridiculous.
Oh, I tell Veda not to worry about me. I get along fine.
Of course you do. Exactly. Now, the problem is she had already talked to Miss Kelly, and we had a phone call from your family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Oh, yes, I know him. Know his wife, too. Nice people.
Is there something I can get for you, Mr. Dowd?
What did you have in mind?
How about a light? Get your light there. Now, your sister was extremely nervous, and she plunged right away into this heated tirade about your drinking.
That was Veda.
She became hysterical.
Oh. I tell Veda not to worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Exactly. Oh, I suppose you take a drink now and then, same as the rest of us.
Oh, yes, doctor. As a matter of fact, I'd like one right now.
As a matter of fact, so would I. But your sister's reaction to the whole matter of drinking was entirely too intense. Does your sister drink, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, no, doctor, no. No, I don't think Veda's ever taken a drink.
Well, I'm going to surprise you. I think she has and does constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not her alcoholism that's going to be the basis of my diagnosis of her case. It's much more serious than that. It's when she became so emotional, talking about this big white rabbit, Harvey. Yes, I believe she called him Harvey.
Harvey is his name.
She claimed that you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
I haven't been persecuting you with Harvey. Bet I shouldn't feel that way. And now, Doctor, before we go any further, I must insist you allow me to introduce...
Let me make my point first, Mr. Dowd. This trouble of your sister's didn't spring up overnight. It stems from trauma.
From what?
From trauma, spelled T-R-A-U-M-A. It means shock, nothing unusual about it. There is the birth trauma, the shock to the act of being born.
Ah, that's the one we never get over.
You have a nice sense of humor, Dowd, hasn't he, Miss Kelly?
Oh, yes, Doctor.
Oh, may I say the same about both of you?
To sum it up, your sister's condition is serious, but I can help her. She, however, must remain here temporarily.
Oh, I've always wanted Betta to have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want Betta to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay here.
Of course not. Did Wilson get what he went after?
Yes, Doctor?
And what was Mrs. Simmons' attitude?
Not unusual, Doctor.
Mr. Dowd, if this were an ordinary delusion, something reflected on the memory picture, in other words, if this was something that your sister had seen once before, that would be one thing. But this is much more serious than that. It stands to reason that no one's ever seen a white rabbit 6 feet high.
Not very often, Doctor.
I like you, Dowd.
I like you too. You and Miss Kelly here. I like her very much.
So, to sum it all up, she must be committed out here temporarily. Under these circumstances, I would commit my own grandmother.
Does your grandmother drink too?
No, it's just an expression. Now, if you will sign these temporary commitment papers, thank you. As a next of kin, it's just a formality.
Oh, you better have Betta do that, Doctor. She's done all the signing and managing in the family. She's good at it.
Well, we can't do that now. We can't bother her.
Oh, perhaps I better go talk it over with Judge Gaffney.
You can explain it all to him later. Tell him I advised it. And it's not as if you couldn't drop in here at any time and make inquiries. Glad to have you. In fact, we could make out a pass for you. When would you like to come back? Wednesday, say? Friday, say?
You and Miss Kelly have been so pleasant. I can come back right after dinner, about an hour.
Well, we're pretty busy around here, but I guess that's all right.
I don't really have to leave. I'm not that hungry.
Delighted to have you stay. But Nurse Kelly and I have to get on upstairs now. Plenty of work to do. But I tell you what you might like to do.
What might I like to do?
We don't usually do this, but just to be sure in your mind that your sister is in good hands, why don't you look around here? If you go through this door and turn right, just past the staircase, you'll see the occupational therapy room. And down the hall beyond that, the conservatory, the library, and the diet kitchen.
For Betta's sake, I think I might do that, Doctor.
Well, it's been very good to have this little chat with you, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, I've enjoyed it too, meeting you and Miss Kelly here.
And I will say that for a layman, you show an unusually acute perception into psychiatric problems.
Is that so, Doctor? I didn't think I knew anything about it. Nobody does, don't you think?
Well, a good psychiatrist isn't found under every bush.
Oh, you have to pick the right bush. Since we all seem to enjoy this so much, let us keep right on. I'd like to invite you now down to Charlie's place for a drink. When I enjoy people, I like to keep right on with them.
Oh, well, sorry. We're on duty now. Give us a rain check. Later on, be glad to.
Oh, when?
Well, Nurse Kelly and I don't get off until 10 o'clock at night, so
I'll pick you up in a cab here at 10 o'clock tonight.
Dr. Chumley doesn't approve of members of the staff fraternizing. Well, you've been so understanding, and I suppose we could manage it.
I'll pick you up in a cab here at 10 o'clock tonight. And the four of us will spend a wonderful evening. I want you two to become friends with a very dear friend of mine. You said later on, so later on it shall be.
can breathe again.
That was a close shave, all right. But he seemed to be a pretty reasonable sort of fellow. That man is proud. What he has to be proud of, I don't know. I played up to that pride. You can get to just about anybody if you want to. Now, I've got to look in on that Simmons woman.
Dr. Sanderson,
Yes?
well, you say you can get to just about anybody if you wanted to. How can you do that?
Takes years of study, Kelly. There's only one thing I don't like about this Dowd business.
What's that?
It's having to make that date with him. Oh, sure, he's left here as a good friend and booster of this sanitarium. So I'll have to go have a drink with him, but you don't have to go.
Oh,
No point in it. I'll go out with him, pat him on the back, and then I'll leave. I've got a date tonight anyway.
oh, by all means. I didn't intend on going anyway. I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my life depended on it.
What's the matter with you, Kelly? What are you getting so emotional about?
He may be a peculiar man with funny clothes, but at least he knows how to act. His manners were perfect.
Oh, I saw you giving him the doll puss stare. I didn't miss that.
Well, he wouldn't sit down until I sat down. He told me I was lovely and called me dear. I'd go have a drink with him if you weren't going.
Oh, sure you would. And look at him. All he does is hang around in bars. He doesn't have a job. And all that corny getting up and bowing every time a woman makes a move. Why, he's as corny as a cast iron deer, but you go to a bar and sit there and let him flatter you. You're a wonderful girl, Kelly.
Now let me tell you something, you.
Dr. Sanderson, Miss Kelly,
Yes, Doctor?
tell the gardener to prune more carefully around my prize dahlias out along the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for picking next week. So, has this difficulty of the woman with the large white rabbit, has it been smoothed over?
Yes, Doctor, I spoke to her brother. He was quite reasonable.
Oh, yes. I have had many patients who saw animals, but I have never had one with an animal quite that large.
Yet she called him Harvey, Doctor.
Harvey. That's an unusual name for an animal. Harvey's a man's name. I have known many men in my day by the name of Harvey, but I have never known any animal whatsoever with that name. This case has an interesting phase, Doctor.
Yes, Doctor.
I shall accompany you upstairs to look in on this patient, and perhaps we can use my formula 977 on her. I will advise you for the prescription for her treatment.
Thank you, Doctor.
And now, may I ask, what is this hat and coat doing on the table? Whose is it?
I don't know. Do you know Miss Kelly? Was that Dowd's?
No, Mr. Dowd had his hat with him when he left.
Well, here, let me look inside here. There may be some sort of identification. What's this? What's this? There's two holes cut in the brim of his hat. See?
Well, that's strange.
Huh. Well, some new fad, I suppose. Anyway, get them out of here, hang them up, put them away.
Hello, Dr. Chumley.
Oh, there you are.
How is every little old thing?
Just fair, Wilson. Thank you, fair.
Look, somebody's gonna have to give me a hand with the Simmons name, or a restraining jacket or something. Forgot me, did you? Well, I got her corset off all by myself.
Dr. Sanderson and I are going upstairs right now to look in on this patient, Wilson.
She's in the hydro tub. My God, I left the water running on her.
Willie, don't forget your promise. Hi, Dr. Sanderson. Willie, don't forget Dr. McClure's cocktail party. We promised him faithfully.
Yes, of course. I have to go upstairs right now and look in on a patient, and I'll be down shortly.
Give a little quick diagnosis. I don't want to be late. I'm dying to see the inside of that house. Good evening.
Oh, good evening.
I'm Mrs. Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
Oh, Dowd is my name. Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. If you should ever want to call me, Call me at this number. Don't call me at that one. It's the old one.
Thank you. Is there something I could do for you?
What did you have in mind?
Well, you seem to be looking for someone.
I am. I'm looking for Harvey. I went off without him.
Harvey, is he a patient here?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Does he work here?
Oh, no. He's what you might call my best friend. He's also a Puka. He came out here this afternoon with me and Veta.
Well, where was he when you saw him last?
In that chair there, with his hat and coat on the table.
Oh, well, there doesn't seem to be a hat and a coat here now. Perhaps he left.
Apparently. I don't see him anywhere.
What was that word you used? Puka?
Oh, yes, that's it.
Is that something new?
Oh, no. No, from what I understand, that's something very old.
Well, I've never happened to hear it before.
You know, I'm not too surprised at that. I hadn't myself until I met him. I sure hope you get a chance to meet him. I'm sure he'd be quite taken with you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Sure.
Not at all. If Harvey takes a liking to people, he expresses himself quite definitely. If he's not particularly interested, he sits there, like an empty chair or an empty space on the floor. Harvey takes his time making his mind up about people. Choosy, you see.
Well, that's not a bad way to be this day and age.
Harvey's fond of my sister, Veta. That's because he likes me, and he's fond of me. And Veta and I, we come from the same family. Now, you think that feeling would be mutual, wouldn't you? But Veta doesn't seem to care for Harvey. Too bad, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I gave up long ago expecting my family to like my friends. It's useless.
Oh, but we must keep on trying.
Well, there's no harm in trying, I suppose.
Because if Harvey said it to me once, he said it 1,000,000 times. Mr. Dowd, I will do anything for you. Mrs. Chumley,
Yes.
did you know that Mrs. McElhinney's Aunt Rose is going to drop in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland?
What? No, I didn't.
Neither does she. That puts you both on the same boat, doesn't it?
But I don't know, Mrs.
McElhinney lives next door to us. Wonderful woman. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. That's an interesting little news item, and you're perfectly free to pass it on.
But
Do you want to come downtown and have a drink with me, my dear?
Oh, no, thank you very much, though. Dr. Chumley will be down shortly, and if he were to come and find me gone, he'd be liable to, he'd be irritated.
Oh, well, we don't want that, do we? Some other time.
I'll tell you what I'll do, however.
Oh, what will you do, however?
If your friend comes in while I'm still here, I'll give him a message for you.
Oh, will you do that?
Sure.
I'd certainly appreciate it.
I'll write it on the back of this card. What would you like me to tell him if he comes in while I'm still here?
Ask him to meet me downtown, if he has no other plans.
Whereabouts downtown?
Oh, Harvey knows where. He knows this town like a book.
Harvey what?
Oh, just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Doctor and I are going down to 12th and Montague for a cocktail party at Dr. McClure's house.
A cocktail party at 12th and Montague.
We're heading there in just a few minutes. Be happy to give your friend a lift.
Oh, I hate to impose, but I'd certainly appreciate it.
No trouble at all. Dr. McClure is having a cocktail party for his sister from Wichita.
I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
You know Dr. McClure?
No.
But,
Are you sure you don't have time to come into town and have me buy you a drink?
yes, but thank you.
Some other time, perhaps?
Thank you.
It has been very pleasant meeting you, and I hope I see you again sometime.
Yes, so do I.
Good night, my dear. Oh, you can't miss Harvey. He's very tall. Like that.
This Simmons woman is very uncooperative, Doctor. She refuses to admit to me that she has this large white rabbit. She says that it belongs to her brother. Well, here. Give her 2 of these at 9, and then another at 10, if she continues to be so restless. And then another trip to the hydro room at 8, and then another one at 7 in the morning. Then we shall see if she continues to be uncooperative, won't we, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor.
Well, you know where to call me if you need me.
Yes.
Are you ready, Pet?
Yes, Willie. Oh, Willie, there was a gentleman who came in. He gave me his card. His name was Dowd, Elwood P. Dowd.
That's Mrs. Simmons' brother, Doctor. I told him he could look around, and I gave him full visiting privileges.
Well, she mustn't see anyone tonight. Not anyone at all. Tell him that.
Well,
Yes.
he wasn't here to see her. He was here to find someone.
Well, who could that be, Dr. Sanderson?
I don't know, Doctor.
He said it was a friend of his that came here with him this afternoon.
Was there anyone with Dad when you saw him today, Nurse Kelly?
No, not when I saw him.
Well, he said there was. He said there was a hat and coat sitting there, and he was quite upset.
Dr. Sanderson.
So, I told him that if we did locate his friend, we can give him a lift into town. He could sit in the back seat. That's all right, Willie, right?
Of course, of course.
Also, I wrote his friend's name down on the back of this card. He said it was Harvey?
Harvey.
He didn't give me a last name, but he did mention something about a Puka. I wasn't sure what that meant.
Harvey!
So he said his friend was about this tall. Why are you looking at me like that, Willie? He was a very nice, polite man, and he was just looking for a lift for his friend, and if we can't do a favor for someone, why are we living?
Where did he go, Mrs. Chumley? How long ago was he in here?
Get me that hat. We'll find out about this, by George.
I don't know, just a second ago.
Main gate? Henry? Dr. Sanderson?
Gaffney, Judge Gaffney.
Henry? Did a man in a brown suit go out through the main gate a moment ago? He did? He's gone.
Hello, Judge Gaffney. Hello, this is Dr. William Chumley, a psychiatrist. We are just doing a routine checkup on the spelling of a name before we enter it into our records. And you called out here this afternoon about having a client of yours committed? Yes, can you tell me how to spell that name? With a W, not a U, Mr. Elwood P. Dowd. Thank you, Judge. Dr. Sanderson, I believe your name is Sanderson.
Yes, Doctor.
You know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went forth. Perhaps they neglected to tell you that a rabbit has 2 large pointed ears, and that a hat for a rabbit would have to have perforations to make room for those ears.
Mr. Dowd seemed reasonable enough this afternoon, Doctor.
The function of a psychiatrist is to tell the difference between those who are reasonable and those who simply talk and act reasonably. Do you realize what you have done to me? You don't answer? I'll tell you. You have allowed a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds and roam the streets with an overgrown white rabbit. You have subjected me, a psychiatrist, to the humiliation of having to call, of all things, a lawyer to find out who came out here this afternoon to be committed and who came out here to commit.
Dr. Chumley,
Wilson, don't go anywhere. I need you. I shall now have to do something that I have not done for 15 years. I shall have to go out after this man, Mr. Elwood P. Dowd, and bring him back here. And when I do bring him back here, your connection to this institution will be at an end as of that moment. Wilson, go get the car. Pet, call the McClures and tell them that we cannot make it tonight. Miss Kelly, come upstairs with me and then we will get that woman out of the tub.
Yes, Doctor. Have to call the cook. She's going to be furious. Wilson,
Yes, ma'am.
what is a puka?
What?
A puka.
You can search me.
Maybe it's in this dictionary here. It has to be. I'm thinking it's a lodge or something. Oh, I better not do this now. If Dr. Chumley comes down and still sees me here, he'll be liable to raise some. Oh, dear.
Puka? P-O-O-K-A. Puka. From old Celtic mythology, a fairy spirit in animal form. Always very large, the puka appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that, at its own caprice. A wise but mischievous creature, very fond of rum pots, crackpots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? How are you, Mr. Wilson? Who in the dictionary wants to know? To hell with it!
Oh, that's right. The stairs at the end of the hall. They go to the 3rd floor. I'll be up in just a minute.
Well, where is she?
Where's who? Whom do you mean, Judge Gaffney? Sit down, won't you?
I mean, your mother. Where is Bella Louise?
Judge Gaffney, you know where she is. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium.
Then why did she call me with a lot of hysteria at the club? Couldn't even get what she was getting at. She was carrying on something fierce.
Mother was carrying on? What about?
I don't know. She was hysterical.
Well, that's strange. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium, and all she had to do was put him in. Did you find it? Oh, good. They found it.
Who? Found what? What are you talking about?
Well, when Mother left the house with Uncle Elwood, I went to the real estate office to put the house on the market. And do you know what I found there?
I'm not a quiz kid.
Well, I found a man there, and he was looking for an old house, just like this one, to cut up into apartments. He's upstairs going through it now.
Oh, see here, Myrtle Mae. This house doesn't belong to you. It's your Uncle Elwood's.
Well, once Uncle Elwood is locked up, Mother controls the property, doesn't she?
Where is your mother? Where is Bella Louise?
Oh, Judge Gaffney, she took Uncle Elwood out to Chumley's Rest to tell them about Harvey and put Uncle Elwood in.
Then why did she call me at the club in the middle of a game, screaming at me to meet her here about something important?
Well, I don't know. I simply don't know. Have you got the deed for the house?
Well, certainly, it's in my safe, but Myrtle, I feel really bad about this thing of locking Elwood up.
Oh, Mother and I are going to be able to take long trips now, all the way to Pasadena.
You know, I always liked that boy. He could have been anything, done anything. He could have made a place for himself in this community.
Well, all he did was get himself a big rabbit.
He had everything. He had brains, personality, friends. Men liked him. Women liked him. I liked him.
Are you telling me once Uncle Elwood was like other men, that women actually liked him in that way?
Well, not since he started running around with that rabbit. But once they did, why once that mailbox of your grandmother's was full of those little blue scented envelopes just for Elwood.
I don't believe it.
Of course, there's always something different about Elwood.
I don't doubt that.
I mean, he was so calm about any sudden change in plans. I used to admire him. I should have been suspicious. Take your average man who looked up and saw a big white rabbit, and they'd do something. Well, Elwood, he took that calmly too. And look where it got him.
You don't dream of how overboard he's gone on this rabbit, Judge.
Oh, yes, I do. I may be old, but I don't miss much. What's that sound?
Oh, that's the prospective buyer on the 3rd floor. Oh! Mother! Look, Judge!
Hey, Louise, what's wrong, girl?
I never thought I'd see either of you again.
Well, take hold of her,
Oh,
Judge.
oh.
She's gonna faint.
Steady.
You're all right, Mother. You're gonna be all right.
Steady, girl. Steady.
Please, not so fast.
Oh, don't rush it, Myrtle. Easy.
Oh, just give me someplace where I
Oh,
can sit down.
oh, here.
Let me sit down.
Here. Here you go. Easy, easy, easy. Get her some tea, Myrtle.
Oh.
Vetta, would you like some tea?
I'll get you some tea, Mother. Get her coat off, Judge.
Oh, here. Let Myrtle get your coat off. Get her coat off.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just let me sit here and get my breath.
Well, what happened to you, Mother?
Let me sit here a minute and then let me get upstairs to my own bed where I can let go.
What happened?
Omar, I want you to sue them. They put me in and let Elwood out.
What's this?
Look at my hair.
Mother, what did you say? What did you do? You must have done something.
What? I didn't do one thing. I simply told them about Elwood and Harvey.
Then how could this happen to you? I don't understand it.
I told them about Elwood, and then I went down to the cab to get his things. As I was walking along the path, this awful man jumped out. He was a white slaver. I know he was. He had on one of those white suits. That's how they advertise.
A man? What did he do, Mother?
What did he do? He took me in there and he took me upstairs and then he... Oh,
Go on, Vetta. Go on, girl.
Poor Mother. Was he a young man?
Myrtle Mae, possibly you should leave the room.
Now? I should say not. Go on, Mother.
Hey, what did you do?
he took me upstairs and then he tore my clothes off.
Did you hear that, Judge? Go on, Mother.
My God! We'll sue him! We'll sue him!
And then he sat me down in a tub of water.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Well, I always thought that what you were showed on your face. Don't you believe it, Judge? Don't you believe it, Myrtle? This man took hold of me like I was a woman of the streets. But I fought. I always said if a man jumped at me, I'd fight. Haven't I always said that, Myrtle?
Oh, yes, Judge. That's what Mother always told me to do.
And then he hustled me upstairs in that sanitarium and then dumped me down in that tub of water. And he started treating me like I was a
what, Mother?
crazy woman. But he did that just for spite.
Well, I'll be damned.
And then those doctors came upstairs and started asking me all of these questions. All about sex urges and all that stuff. The place ought to be cleaned up, Omar. You better get the authorities out there to clean it up.
Well, this stinks to high heaven, Vetta. By God, it stinks.
You've got to do something about it, Judge. You've got to sue them.
I will, Vetta. By God, I will. If Chumley thinks he can run an unsavory place like this on the outskirts of town, he'll be publicly chastised. By God, I'll drag him out of the state.
Tell me, Judge, is that all those doctors do in places like that? Think about sex?
I don't know.
Because if it is, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's all in their head anyway. Why don't they go for long walks in the fresh air? Judge Gaffney walked everywhere for years, didn't Judge?
Well, I think I'm going to take some notes. So, you say these doctors came up to talk to you. It was Dr. Chumley and the other doctor's name, please?
Sanderson. But, Judge, don't you pay any attention to anything that man says. He's a liar. Close-set eyes. They're always liars. Besides, I told him something in the strictest confidence, and he blabbed it.
Well, what did you tell him, Mother?
What difference does it make? Let's forget about it. I don't even want to talk about it. You can't trust anybody.
Anything you told this Dr. Sanderson, you can tell us. This is your daughter, and I'm your lawyer.
I know which is which. I don't want to talk about it. I want to get upstairs. I want to sue them, and I want to get upstairs to my own bed.
But, Mother, this is the important thing anyway. Where is Uncle Elwood?
Oh, I should have known better than to try and do anything about him. Something protects him, that awful Puka.
Where is he? Answer me.
Oh, how how should I know? They let him go. They're not interested in men in a place like that. Don't act so naive, Myrtle Mae. What's that noise?
Well, I found a buyer for the house.
What?
Listen, Mother, no matter who jumped out at you out there, we still got to find Uncle Elwood and lock him up.
But I don't know where he is. Oh, next time you take him, Judge. Oh, wait until Elwood hears what they did to me. He won't stand for it. Don't forget to sue them, Judge. Myrtle Mae, all I hope is it never as long as you live, a man pulls the clothes off of you and dumps you in a tub of water.
Well, now see, Mother mussed everything. No matter what happened out there, Uncle Elwood's still wandering around with Harvey.
Well, I think the thing for me to do is take some more notes.
This is all Uncle Elwood's fault. He found out what she was up to, and then he had her put in instead, and he ran.
No, don't you talk like that. Uncle Elwood thinks the world and all of your mother. Ever since he was a little boy, he wanted to share everything with her.
Well, I'm not going to give up. I'll get a detective. And besides, you'd better save some of that sympathy for Mother and I. You don't know what we have to put up with, Judge. Wait till I show you something he brought home about 6 months ago, and we hid it in the garage.
I'm going to go up and talk to Veta, because there's something she's not saying. I can sense it.
Well, just wait till I show you, Judge.
Okay, I'll wait.
Okay, is he here?
Who?
That crackpot with the rabbit.
No,
Is he here?
No, but who may I ask are you?
Okay, doctor. He's not here. What's your name?
I'm Judge Gaffney.
The reason I asked your name is the doctor always likes to know who he's talking to. Doctor, this guy says his name's Judge Gaffney.
Well, Chumley.
Good evening, Judge. Now, I don't want to waste any more time. Has he been here?
Who? Elwood? No, but see here, Doctor.
You sure he's not been here? He's wise now. He's hiding. It'll be an awful job to smoke him out.
Yes, it will be more difficult, but I will get him. They are sly, they're cunning, but I always get them. I always get them. Do you have that list of the places that we've already been to, Wilson?
Right here, doctor.
Read it.
We've been to 17 bars. Eddie's place, Charlie's place, Bessie's Barn and Dance, the 4th Avenue Firehouse, the 10th, 12th, the 9th Avenue Firehouses, the Union Station. We went to the grain elevator. Why does this guy go to a grain elevator?
Well, the foreman's a good friend of his. He's got many friends, many places.
We dropped by here to ask Mrs. Simmons if she had any suggestions as to where we might look for him.
Well, Dr. Chumley, I must inform you that Mrs. Simmons has retained me to file suit against you.
What?
For what happened to her at the sanitarium this afternoon.
A suit?
And while we're on that topic...
That's pretty, ain't it, doctor? After us dragging our tail all over town, trying to find that guy.
Now, what happened this afternoon was an unfortunate mistake, and I have dismissed the assistant who made it. I am prepared to take charge of this man's case personally. It interests me. And my interest in a case is something that no amount of money can buy. Anybody will tell you that.
But this business this afternoon, Doctor.
Well, it's water under the dam. Look, this is the way I see it. This is the way I see this thing. Well, the item that's important right now is that we get a hold of this man and bring him out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Well, that's right, Judge. That's exactly what I think.
Let me introduce Miss Myrtle Mae Simmons, Mr. Dowd's niece, Mrs. Simmons' daughter.
How do you do, Dr. Chumley?
How do you do, Miss Simmons?
Hello, Myrtle.
What? Oh.
Now, let's speak to your aunt. I would like to talk to Mrs. Simmons.
Oh, Mother won't come down, Doctor. I know she won't. You try to get her to talk to him, Judge.
Well, now see here. Your mother was manhandled. She was... Well, my God, I don't know what she was, but this man's approach was not professional. It was personal.
Wilson, this is a very serious charge.
Doctor, I've been with you for 10 years. Are you going to believe this? What's your name again?
Gaffney. Judge Omar Gaffney.
Are you going to believe this old blister Gaffney?
Oh, Wilson.
Over me. Me! And a dame who sees a rabbit.
It's not Mrs Simmons who sees the rabbit, it's her brother.
That's right, it's Uncle Elwood.
Now, if you'll come with me, Doctor.
Oh, certainly. Wilson, I have a situation here. Please wait for me.
So, your name's Myrtle Mae, huh?
Yeah.
And if we pick your uncle up, you're liable to come down to sanitarium on visiting days?
I don't know.
Well, if you do, I'll be there.
You will?
Sure, if you don't see me right away, stick around. I'll show up.
You will.
Yes, sir, you're the doctor tell me to wait.
Yeah?
Well, while I'm waiting, I can sure use a cup of coffee and a sandwich.
Okay. If you'll forgive me, I'll precede you to the kitchen.
Yes, sir. You're all right, Myrtle.
What?
Doctor noticed it right away. He don't miss a trick. You not only got a nice built kid, you got something else going for you, too.
What?
You got the screwiest uncle that's ever stuck his puss in our nut house.
Hello, Chumley's Rest. Is Dr. Chumley there? Oh, Mrs. Chumley, how are you? This is Elwood P. Dowd. Tell me, were you able to locate Harvey? Oh, don't worry about it. I'll find him. I'm sorry I missed you at the McClure cocktail party. All the people were very charming, and I was able to leave quite a few of my cards. I waited until you phoned and said you couldn't make it because a patient had escaped. Where am I? I'm here, but I'm leaving right away. I must find Harvey. Well, goodbye, my dear. My regards to you and anybody you happen to run into.
Dr. Chumley, you might as well go home and wait. I'm suing you for $50,000, and that's final.
Mrs. Simmons?
Yes. Well, all right.
This picture above your mantel.
That portrait happens to be the pride of this house.
Who painted it?
Oh, I don't remember. Some man. He was here for all the sittings, and we gave him money, and he went away. Hello. Yes. No. This is Dexter 1567.
Well, I suppose if you have enough money to pay people, you can persuade them to do just about anything.
Dr. Chumley, when you helped me out of the tub at your place this afternoon, what did I say to you?
You expressed yourself. I don't really remember the words.
I said, Dr. Chumley, this is a belated civility. Isn't that what I said?
Yes, you said something of the sort.
Dr. Chumley, you brought this up. You might as well learn something quick. I took a course in art this last winter. The difference between a fine oil painting and a mechanical thing like a photograph is simply this. A photograph captures only the reality. A painting captures not only the reality, but the dream behind it. It's our dreams that keep us going. That separate us from the beast. Why, I wouldn't even want to go on living if I thought it was all just eating and sleeping and taking off my clothes and putting them on again. Ah!
Oh, there. That's so. Everything's all right. Don't get excited. Oh, now here. What's the matter?
Doctor, that is not my mother.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Oh, Doctor, Elwood's been here. He's been here.
Well, you better be quiet now. Oh, I'll get it.
Oh.
Hello? Yes. Who's calling? Oh, it's him. Mrs. Simmons, it's your brother.
Oh, let me talk to him.
Don't tell him I'm here. Be casual.
Well, hello, Elwood. Where are you? Oh, one moment. He won't tell me where he is. He wants to know if Harvey is here.
Well, tell him Harvey is here.
But he isn't.
Tell him. That way, it may bring him over here. Humor him. We have to humor them.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear. Harvey is here. Why don't you come home? What? Oh, all right. Just a minute. It won't work. He wants me to call Harvey to the telephone.
Oh. Well, tell him that Harvey is here, but that he can't come to the phone right now. Tell him that, say that Harvey's in the bathtub.
Bathtub?
Yes, say that Harvey's in the bathtub and that you'll send him over there after. That way, we'll find out where he is.
Oh, Doctor.
Now, Mrs. Simmons, you've got to do it.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear. Harvey is here, but he can't come to the telephone right now. He's in the bathtub. I'll send him over as soon as he is dry. Where are you? Where? Elwood?
Oh. Did he hang up?
Harvey just walked in the door. He told me to look in the bathtub. It must be a stranger. But I know where he is. He's over at Charlie's place. That's a bar at 12th and Main.
Oh, 12th and Main. That's 2 blocks down and 1 block over, isn't it?
Yes, Doctor, where are you going?
Well, I'm going to get your brother and bring him over to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Oh, no, Dr. Chumley, don't do that. Send one of your attendants instead. I'm warning you.
But, Mrs. Simmons, if I am to help your brother...
Oh, there is no help for him. He can't be helped. He must be picked up and locked up and left.
So do you consider your brother a dangerous man?
Dangerous.
Why?
I won't tell you why, but if I didn't, why else would I be asking for a permanent commitment for him?
Well, I must observe this man. I must look at his eyes as he is talking to this rabbit of his. You say that he does speak to the rabbit.
They tell each other everything.
What was that?
I said, well, of course he talks to the rabbit, but Dr. Chumley, don't go after him. You'll regret it if you do.
Nonsense. You underestimate me.
Oh, no, Doctor, you underestimate my brother.
Oh, not at all. Don't worry about a thing. I can handle him.
You can handle him? That's what you think. Myrtle Mae, see who's in the bathtub. Oh.
Well, thank you. I may call again later.
How about that stuff in your room upstairs, Doctor?
All packed. Thanks, Wilson.
After you getting bounced, how'd you pay for the one that make the grade?
Those are the breaks.
When you take it off?
As soon as Dr. Chumley gets back.
Have you heard back from the desk sergeant in the police accident bureau?
Not yet. I just talked to the downtown dispensary, and they haven't seen him.
That's beginning to smell awful funny to me. 4 hours, the doctor, they got him, not a word from him. I may not see you again, Doctor, but I would like to wish you a lot of luck I'm sorry you got kicked in the apron.
Thanks, Wilson. Good luck to you, too.
Thanks. Look, if you don't hear back from the desk sergeant, I'm going to go into town and look for him. Doctor ought to know better to go looking for a psycho without me.
I'd like to help look for the doctor, too, Wilson.
That's swell of you, Doctor, after him giving you the brush.
I bear no resentments against Dr. Chumley. He was right, I was wrong. He's the biggest man in his field. It's my loss not to be able to work with him.
Hey, you ain't so small yourself, Doctor.
Thanks, Wilson.
Don't mention it.
Dr. Sanderson.
Yes?
Doctor, I'd just like to say that I wish you a lot of luck too, and I'm sorry to see you leave.
Are you sure you can spare these good wishes, Kelly?
On second thoughts, maybe I can't. Forget it.
Look, Kelly, this is for nothing, just a little advice. I'd be careful if I was you, the kind of company I kept.
I beg your pardon, Doctor.
You don't have to. I told you it was free. I saw you dancing Saturday night with that drip in the Rose Room at the Frontier Hotel.
Oh, did you? I didn't notice you.
He looked to me like a schizophrenic all the way across the floor.
Well, you shouldn't have given him a thought, Doctor. He was my date, not yours.
Well, that was his mentality. The rest of him, well...
But she was beautiful, though.
Who?
That girl you were with.
I thought you said you didn't notice.
You bumped into us twice. How could I help it?
Not that it's any business of yours, but that girl is a charming little lady. She has a sweet, kind disposition, and she knows how to conduct herself.
How funny. She couldn't rate a better date on a Saturday night.
And she has an excellent mind.
Why doesn't she use it?
Oh, I suppose you're not to be censured for that hard, flippant shell you have. You're probably compensating for something.
I am not. Don't you use any of your psychiatry on me.
Oh, if I could use something on you, just once, just to see if you'd melt under any circumstances. I doubt it.
You'll never know, Doctor.
Because you interest me as a case history, that's all. I want to know where you get that inflated ego.
Well, if you aren't the meanest person. Case history? Inflated ego?
Oh, don't run away. Let's finish it.
Oh, leave me alone.
Relax.
Chumley's rest. Oh, yes, Doctor.
No report on him in town or in the suburbs? Look, Sergeant.
Maybe at this point we better just...
Oh, never mind, Sergeant. They're here now.
Mr. Dowd.
Good evening, my dear. These are for you.
For me? Oh, thank you.
Oh, and they're quite fresh, too. I just picked them outside.
Well, I hope Dr. Chumley didn't see you. They're his prize dahlias. Well, did he go upstairs?
Not knowing, I cannot stay. Those colors are lovely against your hair.
Oh, I've never worn fuchsia before. Such a trying color.
You would improve any color, my dear.
Did Chumley go to his house?
I don't know. Where's Dr. Sanderson?
Over in his office there, I think.
Thank you.
Dowd, there you are.
I have a cab outside if you and Miss Kelly can get away now.
Where's Dr. Chumley?
Is he coming with us? Oh, that's nice.
I don't know, Doctor.
I'm sorry I was a few seconds late. I thought Miss Kelly should have some flowers. After what happened here this afternoon, the flowers should really be from you, Doctor. As we grow older, and beautiful women pass us by, we'll think with deep gratitude of these generous girls of your youth. Shall we go now?
Just a minute, Dowd. The situation has changed since we met this afternoon, but I urge you to bear no resentments. Dr. Chumley is your friend. He only wants to help you.
Oh, that's very nice of him. I'd like to help him, too.
If you begin by taking a cooperative attitude, that's half the battle. We all have to face reality, Dowd, sooner or later.
Doctor, I've wrestled with reality for 30 years. I'm happy to state I finally won out over it. Well, won't you and Miss Kelly join me now down at Charlie's?
Okay, here you are. Upstairs, buddy. We're going upstairs.
Just a minute, Wilson. Now, you say that you saw Dr. Chumley tonight?
I did. He came into Charlie's place at dinner time. It's a cozy spot. Let's all go there and talk it over with the tall one.
We're going no place, buddy. And if you don't button up your lip and give some straight answers, I'm going to beat it out of you.
I'd rather you wouldn't. What you suggest is impossible.
And what's this?
You suggest that I button up my lip and give you some straight answers. That can't be done.
Let me handle this, Wilson. So, you say Dr. Chumley did come into Charlie's place tonight?
He did. And I was very glad to see him.
Go on.
He had asked for me. And naturally, the proprietor brought him over and left him. We exchanged the conventional greetings. I said, "How do you do, Dr. Chumley?" He said, "How do you do, Mr. Dowd?" I believe we said that at least once.
Okay.
I'm trying to be fair.
Okay.
I then introduced him to Harvey.
To who?
White rabbit, 6 feet tall.
6 feet 3.5.
Okay. Fool around with him, and the doctor is probably bleeding to death in a ditch somewhere.
If those were his plans for the evening, he didn't tell me.
Go on, Dowd.
Oh. Dr. Chumley sat down in the booth with us. I was seated on the outside like this. Harvey was seated on the inside near the wall. And Dr. Chumley was seated right across from Harvey where he could look at him.
Spend all night in the seating arrangements, huh?
Well, Dr. Chumley then suggested that I buy him a drink. Knowing that he doesn't like to drink alone, I suggested to Harvey that we join him.
And then?
We joined him.
Go on.
We joined him again.
And then what?
We kept right on joining him.
Skip all the joining!
You're asking me to skip a large portion of the evening.
Tell us what happened. Come on. Please?
Dr. Shelby and Harvey got into a conversation. Quietly at first. Later it became rather heated and Dr. Chumley raised his voice.
Yeah? Why?
Oh, Harvey seemed to feel that Dr. Chumley should assume part of the financial responsibility of the joining. But Dr. Chumley didn't seem to want to do that.
Well, now that I can believe.
Let him talk. See how far I go with this. This guy's got some guts.
I agreed to take the whole thing because I didn't want any trouble. We go down to Charlie's place quite often, Harvey and I. And the proprietor is a fine man with an interesting approach to life. Then the other matter came up.
Cut the double talk and get on with it.
Mr. Wilson, you are a sincere type of person, but I must ask you do not use that language in the presence of Miss Kelly.
You're right, Dowd. And we're sorry. You say the other matter came up.
Yes. There was a beautiful blonde woman, Mrs. Smethills, and her escort seated at the booth across from us. Dr. Chumley then got up to sit next to her and explained that they had once met in Chicago. Her escort escorted Dr. Chumley back to Harvey and me and tried to point out that it would be much easier for the doctor to mind his own affairs. Does he have any?
Does he have any what?
Does he have any affairs?
How should I know?
Please, Mr. Dowd, hurry. I mean, we're all so worried.
Harvey then wanted to go down to Blondie's Chicken Inn. Dr. Chumley wanted to go over to Eddie's instead. While they were arguing about that, I went to the bar to order another drink. When I came back, they were gone.
Where did they go? I mean, where did the doctor go?
I don't know. I had a date up here with Dr. Sanderson and Miss Kelly, hoping that we would run in to Harvey and the doctor and make a party of it.
Okay, you satisfied? You've got a story. You're lying and we know it.
I never lied, Mr. Wilson.
Maybe he isn't lying, Wilson.
You two don't believe that the doctor was sitting there talking to a white rabbit, do you?
Maybe Dr. Chumley did go to Charlie's place.
It was hanging out with a gigantic white rabbit, I suppose.
Well, then why not? Harvey was there. At first, the doctor was a little frightened of Harvey, but that gave way to admiration as the evening wore on. The evening wore on. I like that expression. With your permission, I'll say it again. The evening wore on.
With your permission, I would knock your teeth down your throat.
Don't touch me, Wilson. Mr. Wilson, don't you have some old friends you can go play with?
The nerve of this guy. He can't come down here with an ordinary case of the DTs. No. He's got to come down here with a giant white rabbit.
Stimulating as all this is, I really must be getting downtown.
Hello. Charlie's place. Is there Dr. Chumley anywhere about there? What? Well, you don't have to bite my head off. Oh. My. That man was very bad. He said Mr. Dowd was welcome any time, but his friend was not.
Oh, that's Mr. McNulty, the bartender. He thinks a lot of me. Now let's all go downtown and have that drink.
Mr. Dowd.
Yes, my dear. May I hold your hand?
Yes, I guess so. Mr. Dowd, poor Mrs. Chumley is so worried about the doctor. Well, isn't there something that you can remember to help her? Something?
For you, my dear, I'd do anything. I'd almost be willing to live my life over again. Almost. But I've told it all.
You're sure?
Quite sure. But ask me again, won't you? I like that warm tone you had in your voice just then.
So did I.
Oh, nuts.
What?
Oh, nuts.
Oh, that reminds me, I must be getting downtown. I have a lot to do.
But Mr. Dowd, what is it that you do?
Oh. Harvey and I, we go to the bars and order a drink or two and play the jukebox. Soon the faces of the other people turn towards mine and smile. They say, we don't know your name, mister, but you're a lovely fellow. Harvey and I embrace ourselves in these golden moments. We venture to strangers. Soon we have friends. They come over. They sit with us. They drink with us. They talk with us. They tell us about the big, terrible things that they have done. The big, wonderful things that they will do. Their hopes, their regrets, their loves, and their hates. All very large because nobody ever brings anything small into a bar. And then I introduce them to Harvey. And he's bigger and grander than anything they have to offer me. When they leave impressed. The same people seldom come back, but that's envy, my dear. There's a little bit of envy in the best of us. Too bad, isn't it?
How did you happen to call him Harvey?
Harvey's his name.
But how do you know that?
Oh, that's rather a very interesting coincidence, Doctor. One night, several years back, I was walking early in the evening on Fairfax between 18th and 19th Street. You know that block?
Yes, yes.
I had just helped Ed Hickey into a taxi. He had been mixing his rye with his gin, so I felt that he needed conveying. I started to walk down the street when I hear this voice say, "Hello, Elwood." I turn and I see this great white rabbit just leaning against a lamppost. Well, I didn't think much of that, because living in a town as long as I've lived in this one, you get used to the fact that everybody knows your name. Naturally, I went up to talk to him. And he tells me, Ed Hickey seems a bit stiff. Or could I be mistaken? Well, of course he was not mistaken. I love the world and all of Ed, but he was stiff. Well, anyway, we continued talking, and finally I said, "You have the advantage of me. You know my name, and I don't know yours." Right away, he says, "What name would you like?" I didn't have to think for 1 minute. Harvey has always been my favorite name. So I said Harvey. And this is the most interesting part of the entire conversation, Doctor. He said, "What a coincidence. My name happens to be Harvey."
What was your father's name, Dowd?
John Frederick.
When you were a child, you had a playmate, didn't you? Someone you were very fond of, with whom you spent many happy, carefree hours?
Yes, Doctor, didn't you?
What was his name?
Vern McElhaney. Did you ever know the McElhaneys, Doctor?
No.
Oh, too bad. They lived next door to us, and they circulated. Wonderful people.
Think carefully, Dowd. Wasn't there someone, somewhere, sometime in your life that you knew by the name of Harvey? Didn't you ever know anybody by that name?
No, Doctor, no one. Maybe that's why I always had such high hopes for it.
All right. Come on, Wilson. We'll take Mr. Dowd upstairs now.
I'm taking him nowhere. You've made this your show, now run it.
Come on, Dowd. Come on, Elwood.
Oh, very well, Lemon. But I'm afraid I can't be long. I promised Harvey I'd take him to the floor show.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Dr. Chubby, are you all right?
All right, of course I'm all right. There's someone following me. Lock that door.
Who's following you, Doctor?
It's none of your business.
How'd you get in there, Doctor? I just see you go in there.
I went out through my window. Wilson, don't leave me.
I won't, Doctor.
Get that man Dowd out of here.
Will do.
No, don't leave me.
You just said...
Don't be on the telephone.
Dumpy, get that man down, give him his clothes, and you get him down here right away.
Don't leave me.
Judge Gaffney.
I want to see Dr. Chumley.
Hiya, Myrtle.
Hi.
Chumley, we've got to talk to you. This thing is serious.
I should say so.
More serious than you suspect. Where can we go to talk?
Oh, not in there.
Oh, can't go in there. The doctor's the one in his office.
No, sir.
Then sit down, Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle Mae.
Yes, sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle Mae. Wilson, don't leave me.
Okay, Doctor.
Chumley, here are my notes. The facts. Can anybody hear me?
We can hear you. Is that good?
Dr. Chumley, has it ever occurred to you that there might possibly be something like this rabbit, Harvey?
Well, of course there isn't. And anybody who thinks there is crazy. Well, don't look at me that way. There's nothing funny about me. I'm like my father's family. They're all dead.
Now then, my client, the plaintiff, Miss Louise Simmons, under oath swears that on the morning of November 2nd, while standing in the kitchen of her home, hearing her name called, she turned and saw the great rabbit Harvey. He was staring at her. Resenting the intrusion, the plaintiff made certain remarks and drove the creature from the room. He left.
What did she say to him?
She was emphatic. Her remarks are not important.
I want to know what she said to this creature to get him out of her sanitarium. I mean her home.
Well, I hate to have you tell him, Judge. This isn't a bit like Mother, Doctor.
Quit stalling. Let's have it.
She looked him right in the eye and exclaimed in the heat of anger, "To hell with you!"
To hell with you, and he left?
He left, but that's not the point. The point is, Doctor, is this perjury or is it something we can cope with?
Ruthie, I've been looking all over for you.
Dr. Sanderson, disregard what I said this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You are a very astute young man.
Oh, Lyman, did you hear?
Oh, baby.
See you later.
Well, you've just got to keep Uncle Elwood out here, Doctor.
No, I want my sanitarium the way it was before that man came out here this afternoon.
Oh, I know what you mean.
You do?
Well, certainly. It gets on anyone's nerves the way Uncle Elwood always knows what's going to happen before it happens. Like this afternoon, for instance, he told us that Harvey told him that Mrs. McElhenny's Aunt Rose would drop in on her suddenly from Cleveland.
And did she?
Did she what?
Aunt Rose. Aunt Rose, did she come just the way Harvey said she would?
Oh, yes. But what of it? Those things always happen the way Uncle Elwood says they will, but why don't we care about the McElhennys?
And you say that this happens often.
Oh, yes, and isn't it silly? Uncle Elwood says that Harvey knows everything, that Harvey tells him everything. But how could he when there's no such thing as Harvey?
Fly specks. I've been living among fly specks when miracles have been leaning on lampposts on 18th and Fairfax.
Good. Nobody here but people.
Mother, you promised you wouldn't come out here.
Well, good evening. Now, Myrtle Mae, I brought Elwood his bathrobe. Well, why are you all just standing around? I thought you'd be committing him.
Well, sit down there, girl.
I will not sit down there.
How's about you and me stepping up standing in that Myrtle Mae?
Certainly not. Myrtle Mae, come here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it settled?
It will be.
Doctor, may I give my opinion?
Oh, yes, please do, by all means.
His opinion. Omar, he's the doctor I told you about. Eyes.
Doctor, it's my opinion that Elwood P. Dowd is suffering from a third-degree hallucination, and that the other party involved is the victim of autosuggestion. I recommend your Formula 977 for him, and bed rest at home for... You do. That's my diagnosis, Doctor. Mr. Dowd will not see this rabbit any longer after this injection. We've used it in hundreds of psychopathic cases.
Don't you call my brother a psychopathic case. There's never been anything like that in our family.
Oh, Mother, if you didn't think Uncle Elwood was psychopathic, why did you bring him out here?
Well, where else could I take him? I couldn't take him to jail, could I? Besides, this is not your uncle's fault. Why did Harvey have to speak to Elwood in the first place? With a town full of people, why did he have to bother Elwood?
Stop putting your oar in. Keep your oar out. If this shock Formula 977 brings people back to reality, give it to him. That's where we want Elwood.
Doctor, I'm not sure that this kind of treatment will work in a case like this.
It always has, Doctor.
Well, Harvey always follows Elwood home.
He does.
Well, yes, but if you give Elwood this formula and he doesn't see Harvey, he won't let him in. And then when he comes to the door, I'll deal with him.
Mother! Won't you stop talking about Harvey as if there is such a thing?
Oh, Myrtle Mae, you have so much to learn, and I hope you never learn it.
Here he is. Oh, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elwood. I brought you your bathrobe.
Oh, thank you, madam.
Dr. Chumley, what are we going to do? We have to do something.
Oh, yes, we must.
I should say so.
Yes, it's imperative.
Well, while you're all making up your minds, let's all go down to Charlie's for a drink.
Elwood, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here.
Yes, Uncle Elwood.
Stay here, son.
I plan to leave, and you want me to stay. An element of conflict in any conversation is a good thing. That means everybody's taking part. Nobody's left out. I like that. Oh, how did you get along with Harvey, Doctor?
Shh.
So what do you think, Doctor?
What?
What's your decision?
I must be alone with this man. I will ask you all to step into the other room. I'll have my diagnosis in a moment.
Well, do hurry, Doctor.
I will.
Elwood, you stay here.
Here, Mr. Dowd, let me get you a seat. Let me give you a cigar. Oh. Is there anything else that I can get for you?
What did you have in mind?
Mr. Dowd, what kind of man are you? Where do you come from?
Didn't I give you one of my cards?
And where on the face of this tired old earth did you get a thing like him?
Harvey, the Puka?
Yes, is it true that he has a function that he can...
Oh, that he gets advance notice? I'm happy to say so. It is true. Harvey's versatile. Harvey can stop clocks.
What?
You've heard that expression? His face will stop a clock?
Yes, but why? To what purpose?
Harvey says that he can look at your clock and stop it. And you can go wherever you like, with whomever you like, for as long as you like. And when you get back, not 1 minute has ticked by.
Do you mean that he actually...
Oh, Einstein has overcome time and space. Harvey not only overcomes time and space, but any objections.
And does he do this for you?
Oh, he is willing to at any time. So far, I've never thought of any place I'd rather be. I've always had such a wonderful time wherever I am, with whomever I'm with. I'm having a fine time with you now, Doctor. Corona, Corona.
I know where I'd go.
Where?
I'd go to Akron.
Akron.
There's a little cottage camp outside of Akron, and it's a grove of maple trees. It's cool and green and beautiful.
My favorite tree.
I would want to go there with a pretty young woman, a strange woman, a quiet woman.
Under a tree?
I wouldn't even want to know her name. I would just be Mr. Brown.
Why wouldn't you want to know her name? You might be acquainted with the same people.
I would send out for cold beer. and then I would talk to her. I would tell her things that I've never told anyone else. Things that are locked up inside of here. And then I'd send out for more cold beer.
No whiskey?
Oh, beer is better.
Maybe under a tree. But she might like a highball.
I wouldn't want her to talk to me, but as I was talking to her, I would want her to reach out her soft white hand and stroke my hair, saying, "You poor thing. You poor, poor thing."
How long would you like this to go on for?
2 weeks.
Wouldn't that get monotonous? Just Akron, beer, and poor, poor thing for 2 weeks?
No, it would be wonderful.
I can't help but see that you are making a mistake in not allowing that woman to talk. If she gets around to it, she may pick up some interesting little news items. I also think you're making a mistake with all that beer and no whiskey. But it's your 2 weeks.
Oh, cold beer and Akron and one last thing. God, man.
You think you'd like to lie down?
No. So, Mr. Dowd, do you think that he would do this for me?
Oh, he is willing to, and he may. I've never heard Harvey say one word against Akron. By the way, Doctor, where is Harvey?
You mean you don't know?
Last time I saw him, he was with you.
Oh,
He's probably waiting for me down at Charlie's.
oh, that's it. He's probably down at Charlie's.
If you'll excuse me, Doctor.
No, not a dare, Mr. Dowd.
I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to my friend, Dr. Sanderson.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson is not your friend. None of those people are your friends. I am your friend.
Thank you, Doctor, and I'm yours.
But this sister of yours, she's behind this entire conspiracy against you. She's trying to convince me to have you locked up. She came out here today to sign the commitment papers. She's got your power of attorney. She's got the key to your safety box. She's the one that brought you out here.
My sister did all that in one afternoon. But it's certainly a whirlwind.
God, man, haven't you any righteous indignation?
Dr. Chumley, my mother used to tell me, in this world, Elwood, she always called me Elwood, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, you must be oh so smart or oh so pleasant. For years, I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote me.
Just the same, I will protect you from her, even if I had to commit her. Would you like me to do that?
Oh, no, Doctor, no. Not unless Veta wanted it that way. Oh, it's not like you don't have a nice place out here, but I think Veta would be more comfortable at home with me, Harvey, and Myrtle Mae. Miss Kelly, Diviner Grace has never brightened a more enchanting face. Ovid's 5th elegy. My dear, you've never looked lovelier.
And I'll never feel happier, Mr. Dowd. I know it.
Well,
Yes, Doctor.
I wonder if I'll ever be able to remember any more of that poem.
Say, this rabbit gag's a good one. Kelly's never kissed me before.
Ovid has always been my favorite poet.
Okay, you're discharged.
Wilson, take your hands off that man.
This guy?
Apologize to Mr. Dowd.
Apologize to this guy who sees the rabbit?
Apologize.
Listen, I'm sorry. This is the door.
If I leave, I'll forget the poem.
Mr. Dowd, is it common for women to walk up to you and kiss you just the way that Miss Kelly did just now?
Every once in a while, yes.
Oh, yes?
I encourage it, too.
To hell with decency. I've got to have that rabbit. Go ahead.
Oh, I couldn't leave without saying goodbye.
Just a minute, yeah. Do you agree with my diagnosis, Doctor?
Oh, yes. Bring them all in.
Thank you. Mrs. Simmons, Judge Gaffney, could you step in here for a moment, please?
Is it settled?
I find that I concur with Dr. Sanderson.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a relief.
Good boy.
Well, let's celebrate. I got a list of new bars in the back of this book.
This injection has a very violent reaction, and we cannot give it to him without his consent. Will he give it?
Well, of course he will if I ask him.
To get rid of this rabbit? I'm not so sure about that.
Well, don't ask him. Just give it to him.
Bessie's Barn Dance, Blondie's Chicken Inn, Better Late Than Never, Benny's Drive-In.
Oh, Elwood.
We'll all go to Benny's Drive-In, and we'll have a wonderful time. We should telephone for a table. How many of us will be there, Veta?
Elwood.
Mr. Daphne. I have a Formula 977 that will be very good for you. Will you take it?
You won't see this rabbit anymore, Elwood.
But you will see your duties, your responsibilities.
If you thought of it, Doctor, I'm sure it's a very fine thing. If I happen to run into anybody who needs it, I'd be glad to recommend it. For myself, though, I wouldn't care for it.
See that, Judge? See that, Doctor? This is what we have to put up with.
Better. Do you want me to take these?
Oh, Elwood, I'm only thinking of you. You're my brother, and I've known you for years. I would do anything for you. But Harvey won't do anything for you. He's making a fool out of you. Elwood, don't be a fool.
I won't.
Why, you could amount to something. You could be sitting on the Western Slope Waterboard right now if you'd only go over and ask them.
Okay, Bella, if that's what you want. Harvey and I will go and ask them tomorrow.
I don't want to see another tomorrow. Not if Myrtle Mae and I have to live one more day in the house with that rabbit. Our friends never come to see us. We have no social life. We have no life at all. We're both miserable. I wish I were dead, but maybe you don't care?
I've always wanted Bella to have everything that she needs. Are you sure? I'll take it. Where do we go?
In Dr. Sanderson's office.
You say goodbye to the old fellow for me, won't you?
How long will it take, Doctor?
Just a few minutes. Why don't you wait?
We'll wait.
Oh, Dr. Sanderson said it wouldn't take very long.
Oh, Mother, stop fidgeting.
Oh, I can't help it.
Oh, this is stunning. Mother, couldn't you see me in a house coat made of this material?
Yes, dear, but let me get a good night's sleep first.
Come in! What do you want?
I'm looking for, oh, there you are, lady. You jumped out of the cab without paying me.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. How much is it?
All the way out here from town? $2.75.
$2.75. Well, where's my coin purse? I could have sworn I brought it. Myrtle Mae, do you have any money?
Oh, no, I spent all the money Uncle Elwood gave me on my new hairdo.
Judge Gaffney, do you have $2.75 to pay this man?
I only have a checkbook.
We don't take checks.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me, Dr. Chumley, do you have $2.75 I could borrow to pay this cab driver?
I'm sorry, I don't have my wallet with me, and I have no time to go get it. I have to get on with this injection. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll get it for you from my brother, but you'll have to wait. He's in there to get an injection. It won't be very long.
You gonna get my money from your brother? He's in there to get some of that stuff they shoot out here?
Well, yes, but it won't be but a few minutes.
Lady, I want my money now.
But I told you, he's only going to be a few minutes, and besides, I want you to take us back to town.
And I told you I want my money now, or I'm nosing that cab back to town, and you can wait for the bus at 6 in the morning.
Well, of all the pig-headed, stubborn things.
I should say so.
What's the matter with you?
Nothing at $2.75 won't fix. You heard me. Take it or leave it.
Well, never seen anything so unreasonable in all my life. Dr. Chumley, would you let Elwood step out here for a moment? This cab driver won't wait.
Don't be too long.
Elwood, I seem to have come out without my coin purse. Would you give this man $2.75? But don't pay him any more. He's been very rude.
How do you do? Dowd is my name, Elwood P.
Lofgren's mine, EJ.
Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Lockton. This is my sister, Mrs Simmons, my charming little niece, Miss Myrtle Mae Simmons, Judge Gaffney, and Dr. Chumley. Hi. Have you lived here long, Mr. Lockton?
I lived here all my life.
Oh. Do you enjoy your work?
It's okay. I've been with the Apex Cab 15 years. Yeah, my brother Joe, he's been driving for Brown cabs, pretty near 12.
You drive for Apex, your brother for Browns. That's interesting, isn't it, Vada? Mr. Lofgren, let me give you one of my cards.
Mr. Dowd, we need to get on with this.
Oh, certainly, 1 minute. My sister and my charming little niece live with me at this address. Won't you and your brother come by and have dinner sometime?
Sure, be glad to.
Oh, when would you be glad to?
Well, I can't come any night but Tuesday. I'm on duty all the rest of the week.
You must come Tuesday, then. We'll expect to see you and be delighted, won't we, Vada?
Oh, well, what I'm sure this man has friends of his own.
Oh, one can never have too many friends.
Elwood, don't keep Dr. Chumley waiting. That's rude.
Oh, yes, of course. Here you are. Keep the change. It's been very pleasant meeting you, and I hope to see you Tuesday, if you'll excuse me.
Sure. Sweet guy.
Certainly. You could have just as well have waited.
Oh, no, lady. I've been driving this route 15 years. I brought him out here to get that stuff, and I took them back after they've had it. It changes them.
Well, I certainly hope so.
And you ain't kidding. On the way out here, they sit back and enjoy the ride. They talk to me. Sometimes we stop and watch the sunsets and look at the birds flying. Sometimes we stop and watch the birds. There ain't no birds. Sometimes we stop and watch the sunsets in the rain. We always have a swell time. And I always get a big tip. But afterwards, oh.
Afterwards? Oh. What do you mean, afterwards? Oh.
They crab. They yell at me to watch the lights, watch the brakes, watch the intersection. They scream at me to hurry. They got no faith in me or my buggy. Yet it's the same cab, it's the same driver. We're going over the very same road. No fun and no tips.
But my brother would have tipped you anyway. He's very generous. Always has been.
Not after this, lady. After this, he'll be a perfectly normal human being. And you know what bastards they are. Glad to have met you. I'll wait.
Oh, Myrtle Mae, Judge Gaffney, stop it. Don't give it to him, Elwood. Come out of there.
You can't do that. He's giving him the injection.
Mother, stop it!
Oh, but I don't want Elwood to have it. I don't want Elwood that way.
Mother, stop!
I don't like people like that.
Do something with her, Judge!
Oh, you shut up. I've lived longer than you have. I remember my father. I remember your father. I remember.
What is this? What is all this commotion?
She's sounding off again, Doctor.
She wants to stop the injection.
You haven't already given it to him, have you?
Well, no, but we're all ready. Wilson, take Mrs. Simmons out of here.
Oh, get your hands off of me, you white slaver.
You don't know what you want. You didn't want that rabbit either.
And what's wrong with Harvey? And Elwood and Myrtle Mae and I want to live with Harvey. It's nothing to you, but you don't even have to come around. It's our business. Elwood! Oh, Elwood!
There, Betta. Betta's all tired out. She's done a lot today.
Well, have it your own way. But I'm not giving up my game at the club again, no matter how big the animal is.
Oh, come on, Elwood. Let's get out of here.
Now, see here.
It's whatever Betta says, Doctor.
I hate this place. Oh, would you look at that? Isn't that funny? It must have been there all the time. I could have paid that cab driver myself. Harvey. Come on, Elwood. Come on, Myrtle Mae. Hurry up.
Good evening, Dr. Chumley. Mr. Wilson? Doctor, for years, I have known what my family thinks of Harvey. but I've always wondered what Harvey family thinks of me. There you are. Doctor, if you'll excuse me, you're standing in his way. Where have you been? I've been looking all over for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cast of Harvey.